Zeke, what are we doing?
Going to pick strawberries.
Going to pick strawberries.
You did?
That's my sister up there.
Our grandmother
Okay.
used to bring me here and drop me off when I was a teenager. And she'd drop me off for the day.
Where's the flowers?
And I would make 25 cents a quart picking strawberries.
And where are the flowers? You know those?
I was trying to show him how to correctly pick.
Yeah. He needs to learn.
Whoa! Yeah, that's strawberry.
Yeah.
Look at that one. Good job.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
by the stem.
Good job, buddy.
Awesome job, bud.
Not double strawberry.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna make a pie with some of these berries, my favorite strawberry cream cheese pie. But I'm also gonna take some of them and make my grandma's strawberry preserves. So let's get in the kitchen and get started. I am gonna wash these strawberries, so I'm putting them in my dish pan. I like to soak them in a water vinegar bath for just a few minutes. Alright, I think I have enough berries here for now. So I'm going to get these soaking. Let's see. I like to put in maybe a cup of vinegar. Maybe just a tad more because that's a lot of berries. Okay, so I'm just going to fill this with water so they can soak for a few minutes. Cold water. Right. We're going to be making strawberry jam out of my family cookbook. It has recipes from my aunts and uncles and my grandmother and my sisters and my mom. So we're going to kind of flip through here and find Grandma's strawberry preserves recipe because I have used this recipe before to make blackberry jam and it worked really well. You want to help me flip the pages?
Yeah.
And find the recipe?
Yeah.
Okay. We've got we've got appetizers, breads and muffins, breakfast, soup, and dinner. I think it's all the way at the back, buddy. Okay, so we've got strawberry preserves, and this is from the kitchen of Grandma Delaney. The only problem that I have is that I don't have paraffin wax, but I don't think I need that anyway because of how I'm doing the recipes, so. I like to put the berries out on a towel and then I'll kind of dry them a little bit just to make sure they're not sopping wet. I like to put an apron on when I'm making jam because it splatters everywhere. Well, I tend to splatter it everywhere. So I like to protect my clothing just a little bit. I need to get myself a better apron, but this is what I have, so this is what I'm using. So all I'm doing is stemming the berries and then I'm just cutting them in half because we're going to mash these up in a minute. So really I'm just trying to make them a little bit easier to mash up. The riper your berries, the easier they'll be too to mash.
Mama, it'd be big one.
Yeah. Oh man, you got some good ones there, buddy.
So
Oops, I just put the stem in there, didn't I? Twice. Oh well. Get a little bit of greens with our berries. Are you going to have strawberry jam with breakfast tomorrow, buddy? Me too. Now I'm just mashing the berries. Now the difference between jam and preserves is that with jam, you mash your berries, and with preserves, you keep your berries in chunks. You sort of mash them, but they're chunky too. So I'm kind of making a cross between jam and preserves here. I'm going to have 4 cups of berries that are mashed completely. And then I'm going to try to do 2 cups of berries that are just partially mashed. So we have those little chunks of berries like preserves have. And I'm just using a simple potato masher to do this. If you're just making straight up jam, you could put this in the blender and puree it. In fact, I did that with my blackberry jam before. I just put them in the blender and away they went. I think these are about where I want them. They're pretty mashed up, and a lot of juice. Alright, we're going to measure out, hopefully I have 6 cups here. If not, we'll just mash up some more berries. I might not by the time I spill them all. Okay, there's 2 cups. I'm going to go ahead and just put it right into my stock pan. Oh, so close. Let's mash a few more berries here. Wait.
You've already got 4 cups in there.
I put 4 cups in, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Sometimes it takes me a minute. Well, these I was going to do partially chunked. These are pretty much partially chunked because I hurried up to. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this other 2 mostly crushed, somewhat partially crushed berries in. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Made a big old mess. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put 6 cups of sugar in for the 6 cups of berries. So I'm doing it cup for cup. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm not using pectin. So the sugar and the fruit together are going to help this jam or preserves, whatever you want to call them. It's going to help it to thicken up and gel up. So I'm going to go ahead and put this sugar in. Well, at least I didn't spill the sugar. So now we're going to take this and we're going to go to the stove and we're going to do my favorite thing. Stand in front of the stove and stir for about half an hour probably. So let's get going. I'm going to bring it down to a medium. Our stove tends to get really hot because it's propane, so I'm going to keep it on between 2 and 3 so it doesn't scorch. I'm going to stir this all up really well together. You can see it's quite chunky still, so I'm happy with that because I want this to have more of the consistency of preserves over jam. We're just going to keep cooking this until it comes to a boil. When it comes to a boil, then we're going to cook it more. In Grandma's recipe, she actually separated out the steps in the ingredients. She did 1 cup of berries and 1 cup of sugar at a time. She did that 3 times, and then she would add in the whole berries at the end, 1 cup and 1/3 of whole berries with another cup of sugar, and she would cook it again. She would do that 4 times, 4 minutes apiece. They were boiling, so they would cook and boil for like 4 minutes apiece for each step. I like things to be easier, and I don't like to stand in front of the stove anyway for long periods of time stirring, so I just throw it all in at the same time and voila. And the reason I use such a big pan is because as you cook this jam and it starts to boil, it'll start foaming up. If you're in a smaller pan, it could overflow it'll boil over. We've got just a few more minutes of boiling, but it is really starting, I can feel it starting to thicken a little bit. So that tells me that it's close to done, well, ready to take off the heat. we will have been going for about 20 minutes when I take it off. You can go 20 to 24 minutes once it starts boiling. You want to wait till it starts boiling and then figure your time. Once you have it cooked, then you're going to remove it from the heat and just let it set for a few minutes while you dig out a cake pan. My grandma used a glass 9x13 baking dish. I'm probably going to use my metal cake pan because it works pretty well. So you can see all the pink on top of the jam, and that's the foam. So we're going to go through and we're just going to kind of skim that off as good as we can. And I always take it and just put it into a bowl. My kids usually eat it. Sometimes I eat it. But we don't want that in our jam. So I'm not sure why, but Grandma says no. So I'm going with what Grandma says. And I'm skimming that off. I think it could probably take up extra room in the jars. And all right, I think I've got this pretty good enough. I got a pretty good sized bowl of foam there. Now we're going to put this into our pan. Very steamy. Now your cake pan's going to be really hot, so wherever you pour the liquid in is where I would recommend keeping it while the jam is in the pan. And also the jam is going to look really liquidy right now, but I found out with the blackberry jam that the magic comes in just letting it sit. So I usually let it sit for at least 3 hours until it's completely cooled and it's thickened up. Grandma says to let it sit for 12 hours. So you can let it go. If you did this in the afternoon, evening, you could let it sit all night and then the next morning put it in jars. But for now, we're just going to let it sit and see how it does. And after about 3 hours, I'm going to check on it. You want to cover it. And I just cover it with a sheet of wax paper. While I'm waiting on the jam, it's a really good time to go for a walk with the family. Holy moly, that hay.
See, I wish we could cut.
Beautiful.
Making a garlic plot, and then next summer I can harvest that garlic,
I'm worried about flower.
Well, thank you, buddy.
and I can get some
Yeah,
fertilizer
a
down, and I can grow
wildflower.
summer crops right after it. Because
All right. It's been about 7.5 hours. So I'm going to put my apron on and check out the jam, see if it's thickened up. Hopefully it has. All right, this looks pretty good. When I pull the spoon out, it falls off, but there's still jam on the spoon, and that is a really good sign. So it's got nice chunks of fruit. It's really the perfect texture for preserves, I think. I like it like this. So I'm going to go ahead and pour it into my pitcher and get it into the jars. Now, my grandma had paraffin wax in the ingredients, but I think that she used that to cover the jars, possibly. I'm going to just use plain old jelly jars with lids, and I'm not going to can this today. I'm going to freeze it, because when it comes to strawberry jam, I really prefer freezer jam. Now you want to fill these jars to about 1/2 inch from the top. That allows room for expansion as it freezes. And I had my jars all washed and sanitized in the dishwasher, so should be good to go. Is it good, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
So I just like to write the month and the year, and then whatever is in here, like S-berry stands for strawberry, of course. And that way I know what it is and about when it can be eaten to.
I try to wear eye protection.
You ready to eat? Can't wait to try this jam. Is it good? If you want to make that strawberry cream cheese pie I was telling you about, click on this video to watch that recipe next. I'll see you guys next time.